bronze bream on the bite, shad is on the bite. There is a ton of cob. Yes, the talk of the town has been. Hey guys, welcome to this week's Angler News KZN Fishing Report. Guys, the talk of the town has been the Durban Ski Boat Festival. Now, if you've been following our channel, you would know how big this is. This is the world's largest surf launch fishing comp. And if you haven't been following our channel to know this, well, this is your chance to click that subscribe button. Now, apart from this being, the biggest weekend of fishing in Durban, especially on the offshore side, the KZN area has been having bending rods throughout the entire coastline. This is from the south all the way through the north, including our freshwater fishing. This week, KZN has seen Couta. We have seen huge prodigal sons. We've seen some massive sized bass. On top of that, bronze bream on the bite, shad is on the bite. There is a ton of cob. And if you're into your drop shot fishing, this is the time to be on your north coast. So in the show, we are going to get into all of it. And as we always do, we're going to kick it off down the south coast, the lower south coast, in fact. So the fishing down the south coast has been pretty decent this past week. We've had some mixed bag of weather conditions. However, it is shaped up to be a fantastic weekend. With the long weekend being here right now, that you can expect a lot of action on your edible side. There's been some decent reports of some bronze bream coming out, a fair amount of rock species, and your favorite areas has been Trafalgar, Munster, and your Glenmore area. Now, your flavor of the week has been chokka and squid baits. That's what seems to be getting the bites all over the place. And if you're not fishing that further down and slightly further up, well, in your Shelley Beach area, there's been some good reports of bronze bream. And from what we hear, the river fishing is looking really good. So if you are heading down the lower south coast, make sure to carry some light tackle because that river action is phenomenal at the moment, especially when it comes to that snapper salmons. If you were to try your hand on that inedible action, then what you're going to target are those hound sharks. That's been the biggest talk of the town. It's been like that for the last couple of weeks, and it is still the main inedible species on the bite. Now, moving down into Warner Beach, guys, there are 4 major species you're going to target, and that is your pompano and your stumpies. That's what's coming out on the rock and surf side. If slightly further up at Gababa, the guys have been getting some decent amount of shad. And as for your game fish action, snook off the rocks, these are taken on spoon. So that is your Warner Beach area. Moving on into Durban, where the fishing has been absolutely fantastic on all fronts. Whether you're fishing kayak, rock and surf, or ski boat, there's a variety of species that's on the bite. And these include bronze bream, stumpies, and grunter. And if you're looking for more on the inedible action, there's been some activity with gray sharks and a few diamonds. The sand sharks have started to slow down. However, that is expected at this time of the year. On your offshore side, you can expect that Couta, and it is in the perfect time because this is that Couta weekend. Apart from the Couta, there's been some decent amount of snook and the odd dory in between, as well as 1 or 2 reports of your tuna species being on the bite. In the harbor, grunter is still pretty much on the bite. Not as thick as it was last week, but something that is really bending rods are the kingfish. Kingfish and springer. That's what the talk has been throughout this entire week. With guys having some real bragging rights with the springer that they've been bringing in. Now, moving up onto the north coast, guys, it is cob action of note. This is especially off the rocks and especially on paddle tails. So the cob activity is really out there, and it's predicted that we are going to have one of the best cob seasons since we can remember, because as that water cools off and with the reports that we've been getting from the cob over this last couple of weeks, it is certainly shaping up to be some real action coming our way. Apart from that, there's also been some shad on the bite, the bronze bream on the bite as well. And if you're looking for some offshore action, well, there are the Couta and there are the snook that's been bending rods off the ski boat side. Now, moving up to Richards Bay, you can expect some Couta and Dorado off your ski boat side. On your bottom fishing side, there's been some reports of salmon and rockhead. And in the harbor, there's been reports of kingfish, queenfish, and of course, that salmon again. Now, moving up to St. Lucia, it's been Couta all week long. Guys, every day we've been getting reports of Couta on the bite. And how about this image of this prodigal son? I mean, that is a massive fish. So, St. Lucia fishing really quite well. So, guys, that rounds off our saltwater report. Now, moving on to the freshwater side of KZN, where the fish are feeding on all facets. Whether you're fishing trout, bass, or carp, there are definitely bending rods on these freshwater dams. So there's been activity of your still waters and your river waters with that trout, with some even coming in at 58 centimeters. Those are huge trout. I mean, how's this image of this brown trout right here? As for the bass side of fishing, guys, recorded at this week at 5.4 kilos. What a massive fish off Albert Falls. Mudma is also producing some decent sized bass where the fish are feeding mainly off the shallows at this time of the year. As for the carp action, they are definitely feeding on the surface. They are even taking on fly, and this is at Albert Falls. So that's our KZN report for this week. It is looking fantastic on all facets, whether you're fishing north, south, or inland, whether you're fishing off a boat, off the rivers, if you are fishing rock and surf, or even on the freshwater side of things. There is something to catch. It's the long weekend. The weather conditions are looking really favorable, and it's time to get out there and enjoy it. And guys, like I said, it is the Durban Ski Boat Festival. There are 300 boats launching. There's 1,000 anglers getting out there to chase the winning Couta. And there's a lot of bycatches in between with prizes valued of up to 1.3 million rand. There is certainly going to be a festivity down there. We are going to cover it as Angler News. Make sure to follow our social media channels to get the latest scoop of what's been going on. The buzz starts this afternoon, that being Friday the 27th, with the registration and the briefing. But we are going to be down there all weekend. So if you are coming down to see some real big crocs come out of KZN waters, make sure to say how's it and tell us how we're doing with the show. Tell us what you'd like to hear about, because that's what it is about. We are here for you to give you exactly the latest news of what you need to get into the right feeding zones. Guys, as always, hit that subscribe button. Let us know how we're doing in the comments below. Let us know what your takes are off this past week. Send us your catches. And hit that notification bell to always be in the loop of the latest news in KZN. For Anglo News South Africa, I am Vinay Sugrim. Always remember, keep your fishing area tidy, respect those bag limits, and fish for the future.